All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to calculate speed. Well, man, we've been calculating speed for days. We know how to calculate speed, right? What's that speed formula? Speed equals distance divided by time, right? Well, we know our distance because we set that up and it's the same for all of them. What was that distance? 1 meter, that's right, 1 meter. Well, what was our time? Well, for each of these different types of paper, you figured up your average time right here, okay? So we know our distance and we know our time because it's right up here. All we have to do now is substitute that into our formula, right? So there's distance and our time is right here. So here's a spot for our distance. Here's a spot for our time. Our distance is 1 meter. Remember, it was the same for all of them. Our time is whatever your average time was for each type of paper you did. So this one is 0.39 s for seconds. Okay, let's do some math. 1 divided by 0.39 equals, wow, kind of cool, huh? That's a crazy number. Remember, how many decimal places did Miss McCoy want? She only wants 2 decimal places. So we're going to do some rounding right here. We've got 2.564. Is that 4 going to change to 6? No, it's not, because it's a 4 or less. It's going to let it rest, right? Okay, so our speed for the crumpled paper is 2.56 meters per second. Don't forget to pull your units down. We can't have willy-nilly numbers hanging around. We've got to have our units on there because this is science class, right? Okay, we ready to figure out the next one? Speed equals distance divided by time. Our distance is going to be the same for all of them. So there's a spot for our distance. There's a spot for our time. What was that distance again? 1 meter. That's right. All of us had 1 meter. Or close enough that it doesn't count. Remember, if you used a tape measure, that's totally fine. Now, what was our time for our flat paper? We figured up the average time, and this is it right here, 1.75 s per seconds, and then here we'll put our answer. So let's plug it in. We've got 1 meter divided by 1.75 seconds equals 0.57 meters per second. So that's going to be our speed. That 1 won't change, that 7 right there, and I want 2 decimal places. Okay? So our speed equals 0.57 meters per second. Okay? Making sense, right? This is kind of cool. So you guys, you did the trials, you figured out the average time. Now we're actually figuring out the speed of the fall for each of these different types of paper. I think this is fun. Okay. Next, we've got the paper glider. So we know that speed equals distance divided by time. There's a place for our distance. There's a place for our time. Our distance was the same for all of them. It was 1 m for meter. Our average time we figured up right here. Average time was 0.50 seconds. So 0.50 and then an s for seconds. And that's where we'll put our time. Let's go ahead and plug it into a calculator. 1 point nothing divided by 0.50 equals 2. We don't even have to round that, do we? Good. So 2 what? We got to pull them units down, meters per second. So there you go, folks. That is how to figure out the speed of fall right here. Okay? The speed of fall for the crumpled paper was 2.56 meters per second. Speed of fall for the flat paper was 0.57 meters per second. And the speed of fall for the paper glider was 2 meters per second. Okay, well, now we need to know for your conclusion, after you put your data in the answers below, which one of these is moving faster? So this has confused some students in the past. It really has, and that's okay. That's all right. So we're going to talk about it. So what it comes down to is the bigger the number, the faster you're moving when we're talking about speed. Okay, so just like if we think about the speed limit out in front of school, is 35 miles per hour. Okay, when the lights are flashing, the speed limit on our road right here is 35 miles an hour. Well, if we went out on I-30 on the highway, the speed limit out there is 75 miles per hour. So which of those are faster, 35 miles an hour or 75 miles an hour? If you said 75 miles per hour, you're correct because it's a bigger number. So all you have to do to figure out which of these 3 papers is moving faster is find the biggest number. Okay? So which one is the biggest number? 2.56 is bigger than 0.57, right? And 2.56 is bigger than 2, right? Good. So for me, my crumpled paper fell the fastest. Well, which one of these numbers is slower than the rest of them? For slower, we're looking for the opposite. So if fastest was the biggest number, slower is the smallest number, and this one right here, 0.57, is slower. Okay? Use that information to help you in the questions below.